So, my name is Francisco Antona. I'm here today in a new podcast. Today we are going to be addressing one of those areas which has been changing dramatically in the last years. It's going to be about transport and logistics, and we are going to be disclosing some of the best opportunities, where the opportunity is in the transport and logistics nowadays. So I'm today with Cristian Bârsan from Honeywell. Hi, Cristian.
Hi, Francisco.
Cristian, you're a software specialist within Honeywell, right?
Yes.
And very much involved into any kind of development in the area of transport and logistics. So it's great to have you here.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a great pleasure and honor for me. It's also, being here in this podcast with you and also to represent Honeywell.
Okay, you've been in Honeywell for many years, right?
Yes, I'm with Honeywell for 3 years now, working for the, let's say, so-called end customer sales team.
Correct.
In Eastern Europe. But now I'm currently in a different role, covering the northern part of Honeywell, of Europe, for the solution team.
Okay, that's great. Absolutely great. Hey, Cristian, we have been discussing about this podcast, before, and then one of those things that really catch my attention is really a very funny stuff. We have been doing podcasts on warehouse, on retail, and we've been talking about the way that those areas have been changing in the past 10, 15 years, right? But when we are coming into transport and logistics, your first statement was how the transport and logistics has changed in the last 2 years. And it's not only about the pandemic, right? So in the last 2 years, the change has been more dramatic than in the previous 25 years. So I think this is one of the biggest surprises that I got today. And I think this is one of the things that we should be addressing within this podcast.
Yeah, you are right, Francisco. So the idea is that we've seen in the last 2 years, so unprecedented, changing times. So having different problems in the industries, different bottlenecks coming with supply chain bottleneck. Then started everything with the COVID times 2 years ago. Then there are different crises that came, the war in Ukraine, for example, a big problem, and also the inflation that increased the prices. So all of those, let's say, crises come together, are coming with a big pressure on costs and resources on the transport and logistics companies, but not only on those companies, it's only with us. So we have a big challenge now in, supplying and to fulfill, the orders, to fulfill the e-commerce demand that has been dramatically changed in the last 2 years.
Okay, there was a substantial also change, in the relevance of different technologies within the market, correct? So some things have been growing, some things that were supposed to be growing have not been growing. So I think it's like a perfect storm, right? Probably you don't want to address the supply chain, right? I mean, no manufacturer wants to address the supply chain nowadays, but certainly the supply chain has been affected, and obviously it has been changing the role that the technology is playing within the transport and logistics.
Yes. Exactly. The companies are right now focusing on trying to not survive, but to get best out of the investment that they've done till now.
Yep.
So right now, Honeywell is focusing on this, and it's coming to our mission of offering new ways of doing things.
Correct.
We are somehow a company that's focusing on innovation. You can imagine that having more than 100 years of existence, it's telling us that we survived through, 2 world wars, or to unprecedented times of facing historical crises in Europe and US, and this is somehow unbelievable. It's coming to the Honeywell culture. We are trying to keep the same culture, and we have that kind of mindset and behavior. And it's also very interesting that we have 9 behaviors. It's a something like a Bible for us in Honeywell. Yes, and I can worth maybe mentioning to you, because it's important. We have the customer-centric attitude, and we think big and make it happen. This is one of the behavior. Then it's act with urgency.
Yes.
Then be courageous, or maybe have a passion for winning. So we have nine behaviors that are very important for us. And our mission in Honeywell, actually, and these are the perfect times when we can add value to our customers, to our partners, to the end users in general, and to the world is because we are simply, blending physical products with software solutions in order to link people and businesses to the information they need to be more productive, to be more connected, and to be more efficient.
And I think there is also one thing which is critical in your company. I mean, you are present in different technologies. You are in the aerospace sector. You're in the warehousing. You're in the healthcare. And all these different divisions of your company are really demanding to your division, to the auto ID area, solutions in order to make the world more efficient, right? So probably this kind of retroactivity in your company, which is feeding and is unique in the industry.
Yeah, these are the perfect times when we try to put ourselves in the shoes of our customers and in the shoes of our partners, and to understand that in these difficult times, we need to get the best of the investment and the knowledge that we have coming from different areas, different sectors. And we take, this advantage for defining new ways of doing things. For example, we are in the software industry for many years. We create for aviation, for the aircrafts, the avoid and detection systems, for example, or any other, solutions that are with Honeywell for years. And now we take this and that knowledge and expertise, and we put it into, the favor of our auto ID industry, trying to help our customers to understand, hey, you can utilize the investment and the hardware and the software that you already invested in order to bring you more advantage right now in these times when you are, somehow stressed by this period of times.
That's absolutely great. So let's start dreaming. When I was talking to you before the podcast, we were thinking, okay, I think we should be trying to make the people, the audience, dreaming and try to see some of the examples that you are involved. Some of the projects that you're involved. And I think it all starts, with the consumer, right? And I think all the transport and logistics has been now adapting to the new consumer habits, to the new consumer needs. And I think this is the principal change that we can see nowadays. The consumer has changed. Again, we are not talking about 10 years ago. We are talking about 2 years ago. And on top of as you mentioned before, on top of the pandemic, which is the obvious answer to anyone, there is a crisis with energy, there is an inflation, there is a war, probably everything is related. But at the end, it's like a perfect storm of things happening. The consumer, you, me, we have changed.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you before, when you were defining your position, you said before, hey, I'm selling dreams. So let's start dreaming. Tell me, what is happening with the consumer? What has happened to the consumer?
Yeah, it's a storm that happened. It's a completely game changer that came in the last 2 years. And the transport and logistics companies were, forced to let's say, create value together and to look on different angles on the solution, on the problems that they faced. Mm-hmm. For example, in the courier and postal parcel industry, they were somehow forced, to open a project that has been in their minds for, I don't know, in the last 10 years, but now was the perfect moment to open this. It was the lockers. So the consumer just, had this expectation of clicking, putting a button and then, order the goods and then to receive the goods next day or maybe 2 days, in 2 days without having a direct contact with the courier or with somebody. Yep. So it was the perfect moment for those companies, somehow forced, let's say, by the times, to create this new industry. And now it's really, really working very well. And it's coming, to change the game, because now the consumer has at least 2 or 3 options for their needs. So, for example, they can, order a good and receive it at home, classical, let's say, delivered by a courier, or they can, order a good and receive the goods in a parcel, or maybe order a good and take the goods out of the shopping mall because it's near their work office. So
you can even pick up things in the bar in front of your house because they have a locker, which has been agreed with the transport company.
Exactly. It's very interesting. And today, what we are seeing today, it's also this kind of competition.
Yeah.
So classical competitors.
You said competition.
No, it's co-petition.
Co-petition. That's a very interesting term.
Yes, we've seen, let's say, historical competitors staying at the same table, trying to understand how to utilize and share resources
Yes.
in order to fulfill this demand that it's growing in the e-commerce. So this is somehow again forcing everybody to look on different angles on the situation and to put their best on the table with this in mind.
Yeah.
We just don't need to survive, but we need to transform our business. We need to transform our behavior. We need to start to be maybe in some situations to be I don't know, open
Yeah.
to build new industries, or
Yeah.
to define new industries, or maybe to go into the mid-mile or last-mile sector in the air. Why not, delivering the goods by drones, not
Yeah.
by cars. And we all know that these were like, old concepts. We were like, hey, these are only dreams. But in reality, these things are right now happening, and we are part of this construction.
There was one of the videos, that you showed me, from your company, that there is someone, hey, I'm working on developing drone taxis, and then there is a kind of stop, and then it says, no, I really mean we are doing that. So this is happening. It's not the future. Is now here. So you've been talking also about delivery by drones. I think this is one of the most interesting opportunities that we can bring. So it seems that there is a kind of discrepancy also between the current, let's say, technologies available and the infrastructure in certain areas. So in some places, this opportunity becomes much more evident because simply there are no infrastructure enough to make the things in the way that they have been always doing. So, okay, we always put the parcel there. It always taken 10 hours. But now there is a new way to do things in 5 hours without changing the infrastructure, which is the biggest breaker, right?
Yes, exactly. No, the biggest challenge that we faced in these years, it was that, the pandemic accelerated the demand in the e-commerce sector.
Yeah.
And we have all of those, let's say, challenges with the infrastructure, with the resources, with the prices, with the energy crisis.
Yeah.
And, it's keeping the infrastructure and the resources here. So here it's a big gap.
Yeah.
And we are all wondering what to do. And we were, looking on the first mile, on the mid mile.
You're not only wondering,
on
you're
the last
acting,
mile.
in fact.
Yes. And we started to act. And we've seen, customers staying, in the same office with some dreamers, let's say, startup companies in the drones manufacturing area. And we were there trying to understand how we can, open a new way of doing things. So it's something unbelievably something new, but it's right now happening. This partnership, it's under NDA. I cannot, say the company name. But what are we doing right now is just, simply take this load from the road.
Yeah.
You can see the truck staying in the queue on the highways. And this is a really big problem coming to the eastern part of Europe, where the countries are, having this kind of, lack of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And like Romania, like Bulgaria, like Serbia, I don't know, this is, let's say, a big opportunity for all of us to understand that there is no other way just, to take the load from the roads and to put it in the air. So it's so-called regional drones concept. We are working on this, and we try, to get the vans, let's say, because we talk about the capacity that it's, transported by a van, to move it to these regional drones.
Can you measure that capacity?
It's like, 2 pallets, let's say, something like this, 500 kilos.
Okay.
At the beginning, it will be like, for the goods that are sensitive or critical for the market. So we talk about healthcare, we talk about automotive, where that 1 minute of delay costs a company millions of dollars. So we will deliver this, through the valleys over the sea. In order, to fulfill this need. And the cost, it's half of the cost that it's right now reporting on the highways.
It's like a middle point, right? I mean, till now you have the trucks or the vans, with the merchandise. Then you have the planes with the merchandise. It's like a middle point between those two, which is cost effective and is helping. But you are not meaning putting the van on a drone, right? You're meaning putting the goods,
Yes.
because I mean, we have seen some examples, and it's working very good today and everywhere. It's like we are putting trucks on top of trains,
Yeah.
and then the train is bringing the truck, and then in that kind of mid-mile, which is a concept that we will be exploring very soon, area, right? So
Yeah.
you are talking about bringing the goods into a kind of mid-size transport in the air, and then going straight to the next hub.
Exactly. Right now we are working with European Union and to open a law and to regulate this kind of transportation because it's something new for us. But it seems that we are accelerating this. So this partner that we are talking about, they just got the license for the very first fly in Europe.
Yep.
So it will happen very, very soon. It will happen in 2023. Right now we are in the assessment part with with the manufacturer, and we are talking with the customers. There are already contracts signed with the big transport and logistics companies that they want to take part of this transformation. So they understood that it's not enough what we have. And the drones, the regional drones, at least for the mid-mile sector in Europe, it's coming, and it will start next year. It will be something unbelievable.
Absolutely. I mean, because we are all seeing in the movies and TVs, we are seeing all these drones bringing package to your own house. But you're introducing a concept, as I said, which is also very interesting to me, is the mid-mile, right? I mean, I don't know, in our industry, and you know this very good, Cristian, for 2, 3, 5 years, we've been always focusing on the last mile delivery.
Yeah.
And you're the first person who comes here and said, well, that's not an issue. That's not the trouble. It's the mid-mile where the fight and the opportunity is now being built.
Yes.
Correct. So this is, according to your experience, where the big opportunity is right now. This is where the biggest change is happening. Correct.
Yes, because here is the biggest costs. Are the biggest costs on this, let's say, supply chain in the mid-mile, not in the last mile.
Yeah.
So we can address the last mile in the cities by, investing in electric bicycles or small cars or autonomous cars or something like this. But what you should do for the mid-mile, where you have, trucks staying in the queue between, the main warehouse and the regional warehouse, and, this kind of situations are very, let's say, keen to transform these days. And this is also something interesting because coming to regulation, it's difficult to apply drones that you've seen in US. For example, Amazon is doing this in US, delivering in the last mile the packages with drones.
Yeah, also in Europe, yeah.
But coming to the regional and geographical challenges, you cannot do this in Europe. We have crowded cities. There it's a lot of regulation there, and it's complicated to do this. But for the mid-mile, you simply can go through the valleys, over the sea, so you can also avoid people and avoid cities in order to deliver the goods. Yeah. So this is something completely new, and it will come next year.
So it's a reality, and that's also one of the most interesting things. So when I'm asking you, hey, let's start dreaming, just dream for a few months because you're going to see it happening very soon.
For sure.
Okay, I've seen some of the models, by the way. The models look like a war drone, right? So it's the same kind of shaping. I don't know if I should be scared or not.
Yeah, it's like a small airplane.
Yeah.
It will be, like a small airport near the main warehouses of the customers.
Correct.
And they will utilize, the drones in the first scenario to deliver the critical goods, or maybe for the post and parcel couriers, they will use for Black Fridays when it will be, the peak season.
Yeah.
Or for very expensive goods. So this will be like a concept at the beginning, but then
Correct.
We are sure that it will expand to the entire market.
That's fantastic. All this perfect storm, which is happening with the pandemic, the inflation, the war, the energy crisis, all this is also coming to one of the biggest challenges that you probably can talk about, right? Which is the predictability, of the data. How to use the data in terms of making predictions and being closer to the customer. And I think this is also one of the biggest challenges that we have seen coming very fast, into the scene in the last 2 years.
Yes. What we have right now is a challenge to utilize the data that is coming towards every day. So we have a big chain right now of companies, trying, to work to fulfill these needs. those companies invested a lot in technology in the last years, from hardware to software to different software solutions. And now we have this data that is staying there. This equipment, it's already, let's say, it's talking to us. We just need to take the data and to return the data as a business insight to the customers. And we are doing this in Honeywell, offering them the possibility of acting right now. And also with this kind of new software solutions, we act with them before problems to happen. So how we can do this? We take the historical data, we take the movement of the equipment in the field, because all of this equipment that we are having with our customers are, having sensors on it.
Correct.
So are transmitting us data in real time. We can map all of those movements. And in this way, we can predict, the next step that the customer will be doing.
So Cristian, what I want to address is that in this moment, there is much more a need in the consumer for data rather than for hardware technology, right? And this is a change.
Yes, this is a change. They invested a lot in technology in the last years, and right now is the right moment to assess those investments and to understand that we can use the data in more ways. We can use that data to empower decision makers to take better decisions. And how we do this? We develop solutions in order to predict problems before they happen. So together with our partners and customers, we create rules and automations in order to put the data to work for them.
Correct. I think that's also a key element in this discussion, right? We will be addressing that later because first of all, before we go there, I just want to also to focus the conversation, right? I mean, it's great dream. You've been talking about co-opetition. It's a term that I never heard before. You've been talking about the mid-mile, also a big surprise to me because I mean, the only thing I've been listening in the last 10 years is last mile. Well, suddenly the last mile is not that important, probably because it's difficult to solve, as you said, and the mid-mile becomes in the spot, right? Becomes in the focus of the technology. So let's try to help our customers, to understand where the opportunity is. And you mentioned 5 points, 5 areas where things are changing. I would think things have changed. I prefer to use that expression, right? And the number one, I don't know how many times I've heard this in the last years, is omnichannel. So why is omnichannel affecting this?
Indeed, the biggest challenge that we are facing today is to respond to the new reality, to this dramatically changing change that happened in the last 2 years, at least. So, the strategy is to focus on customer experience. So we should look into what customer are addressing today in terms of behaviors, in terms of needs that they have, new needs, and now the biggest way to have a consistent experience with a customer is to give them transparent their place into the process. So to give the possibility to the customer to understand, hey, right now I can choose whatever I want to be the next step. So my package on the chain, it's there, or I want to change my mind. So this is very important, and all the customers during the chain, the providers, the transport and logistics companies, everybody's in the same game. So now we need to focus on having this omni-channel and offering the possibility to the customer maybe to buy things from the application, or maybe from the website, or maybe from the store, to having the same seamless experience and the same consistent feedback that we receive from the customers.
Correct. I think it's a complete reverse vision on what we have been doing in the last 20 years, right? It's like, at the beginning, it was really all about bringing the product, to the house, to the customer. Now we need to observe the customer. The customer is doing different things. Maybe, and you mentioned before the lockers, maybe they don't want to receive things at home. Maybe they want to receive things in a locker, in a bar, whatever, So now we need to adapt to that. And based on what the customer is doing, then we are building a supply chain behind, which is totally different to what it used to be till now.
Exactly. We are looking on the customer day by day. So this is where Honeywell it's really, really good. If you are looking on Honeywell, and we like, to tell ourselves that we are future shapers. This is our, let's say, internal nickname, and also external now it's well known.
You said before, selling dreams.
Selling dreams. We are looking on the dreams of our customers. So just to give you an example in the retail.
Yes.
The customers want, to be very easy, and they took that behavior from the pandemic time. So not having contact with persons directly, not staying in the queue. So they want to be very simple. So to give you an example, right now we are looking on a solution, on application for our, tablets or terminals that are used by our customers in the retail. So just to imagine an experience for for the end user, for the consumers, they are going, into a fashion brand company, testing things, wearing clothes, and then they suddenly want to buy something. We don't, take the consumer, take the customer saying, hey, that is the queue, you should go and pay there at the checkpoint.
Correct.
With the tablet or with the end product that our customers are using, they can simply pay with the NFC with their telephone, and that's it. They go away, they take the goods, and they can go away from the shop area without staying in the queue, because we develop all of those, let's say, software solutions in terms of seamless payment, without any friction.
Correct.
And this is important. In the end, it's about customer and making great experiences for these customers. It's not about Honeywell or about BlueStar or about technology or about hardware or software. We are simply looking on the customer, trying to simplify things and to offer them time. This is the most important asset for everybody. Time.
I like that approach. You're selling time. We are selling time. All this technology, all this data management, all this hardware technology, all these drones flying here, is all to get time. And that's the ultimate target that you have as a company.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, number 2, visibility across the supply chain.
Yeah. We know that there are only, let's say there are some reports, public reports, only 1 out of 5 companies in transportation and logistics have a complete visibility on the supply chain and on the processes. So we want to change this. We need to change this for them, and they are addressing this challenge right now. There are plenty of software solutions for orchestrating the delivery and understand how we can streamline those processes, how we can fulfill the orders in simple manner. And the only solution for this is getting visibility across the supply chain. We are maybe coming a little bit again into that competition term. Because everybody should understand that this is about the consumers. We need to help each other right now. The gas is expensive, the resources are expensive. If we are not going in the same direction, everybody will lose. So we don't want to be there. There are plenty of solutions that are developing right now to offer visibility across the supply chain, and we are really encouraging our customers to look at those solutions, and Honeywell it's also in that area.
That's a very interesting term, because we are really busy with this kind of projects where people is really lacking of identification. How to become different. When you are talking about competition, I think we all as companies have the fear that the customer is not going to be identifying our companies as being different to the others, right? So competition is a big step. It's something that people will be scared. But when we are talking about, as we did before, infrastructure existing, it must be also a must. And if some companies do not see that, most probably, at least what I understand from your vision as a company, they will not be surviving, right?
The couriers, the transportation and logistics companies are starting, to share spaces, to share resources, to share customers in order to fulfill the orders. So maybe they share the mid-mile and they split the last mile.
Correct.
This is
one solution. Where the customer does not see the difference, that can be unique. But of course, at the end, is a person with a branded shirt who is bringing your thing, your stuff, and of course, making different to the others?
Yes, this is coming from the 3PL. Right now is the 4PL concept, where they have a better visibility.
Yeah.
So they can fulfill and integrate, having like an omni-channel on the database, on the solutions. So this is also in advantage of our customers, in advantage of a better world, of a safer world. So we need to go all together in the same direction.
Absolutely. Cristian, number 3, mobility.
Yeah.
I mean, mobility technology is key, for a successful growth, and let's be honest, we can be talking about solutions, dreams, software, but at the end, the people needs to bring some technology in the hand, right? Exactly what you're doing right now. So why is that an opportunity?
Look, mobility, it's no longer a trend. It's a lifestyle. So it redefines the way we work, the way we play, the way we buy, the way we spend, our time with our family. So it's the same thing that right now, this concept of mobility, it's coming from the consumer to the business. We try to offer time, as I said, to our customers. So our solutions in the end, historically Honeywell in auto ID business, it's known by, the producer of some, hardware equipment, terminals, printers, scanners.
Yeah.
It's not longer that idea. So right now we are just, offering a piece of hardware. But in the end, we have developed software solutions for our customers to communicate between them, so between colleagues, and then to create seamless communication with their customers. They can scan the barcodes with one terminal. So in the end, coming to this mobility thing, we empower them and we utilize having only one terminal that can address all the internal and the external challenges,
even the private
uses. So the customer is there. The customer right now, coming to the last mile, can communicate in real time with the driver. Maybe the driver is just right now delivering the good, but the consumer will simply send a message saying, hey, I'm not at home, please redirect the package to the nearest locker. And this is the way they get this. So we can help the customers in the end, and the entire supply chain, by offering this kind of solutions. It's not product, it's not software. You're
absolutely right, but I always have the feeling, when we are talking about these kind of movements, these kind of changes, that most of the times the final users are also feeling that there is no big difference between the professional units and the consumer units. We are seeing a wide consumerization of that, and we have a lot of arguments in that. But what you are telling me is that maybe that's not so important in this moment, that maybe we should not look at that as a big threat. Of course it's a threat, because probably the interest of the customers is going somewhere else, right? So
yes, really, it's not a threat in this moment, and it wasn't a threat for Honeywell. We don't see this as a real challenge for us, because we understand that we need to transform every year. So every time something will come. You can imagine that this company, Honeywell, has at least, it has 116 years of existence, and a big portion of our investments are going to research and development. We have more than 18,000 engineers and more than 45,000 patents. So we celebrate invention every day.
Yes.
This is why we are looking at the customers and understanding that they are doing in different ways, all the orders, they are somehow coming to change the world. We want to be there, and we are forced, but we really like to do this, to change ourselves. For example, to give you an example, in the warehouse, we developed many years ago a solution for pick by voice, for example. So we don't use the hardware and the mobile terminals. We have simply a headset that right now will be connected to the internet, so the application will be there, and we simply communicate with the warehouse system, with the WMS system, through the voice, sending the same information, and having more accurate accuracy in picking the orders. We have increased the productivity. So in the end, this is all about the speed and increasing the productivity.
Absolutely. And transparency is also a key element right there. I mean, when we talk about being transparent in the data, I mean, this data needs to be available to all the steps in the chain. And in that case, the efficiency will be multiplied by 100 times.
Yes.
And I think that's also something that we need to take into consideration. Number 4, Christian, IoT, and Honeywell is a big player there.
Yeah.
Why is IoT also? I mean, we've been talking about IoT for many years, right? But why IoT is a key opportunity more than ever when we talk about transport and logistics?
I really like this concept of IoT. I remember that working for a different company. I can say the name. It's Microsoft, because we are partnering in different kind of areas. We talk about IoT 5, 6, 7 years ago. If you remember, it's exactly as we are talking today about sustainability.
Right.
It was a trend, but now it's a reality.
Yeah.
So we did this. We installed sensor on all of our equipment in order, to bring us, the data. Now everything is connected, from cars to watches to, highways to, software solutions to applications. So right now we have the data. And Honeywell started, to develop these solutions in order to give this data back to the customer as a business, insight. So as valuable information that they can utilize. So during this period when it's very complicated to invest in new things, this is the best, if you want, the best period of time to utilize the power of IoT. And I can give you, a great example here of
Please.
our customer in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Actually, we have 2 customers. It's Fun Courier and Same Day.
Yeah.
They are courier companies, and we help them to deploy a new solution called operational intelligence in order to have a better visibility on their operations. So they have right now a complete management of the life cycle of IT assets, people, and tasks. So in the last 2 years, they have been able to redistribute the units, the terminals, the printers, everything based on the demand.
Yeah.
Then they had full control of the cost and operations. So in this moment, they utilize 100% of the equipment that they bought in the last years in order to fulfill more and more orders. So they are able in this moment to do more with less.
Yes.
So the concept there was IoT in the end.
Correct.
Because we can see right now when a driver, for example, is dropping, the terminal, we can see the impact when this happened. Exactly, we have the log in the system with the time, with the place, with everything, and we have the sensor in terms of accelerometer.
Yeah.
So we can see also, the impact level. It's a light drop, it's a hard drop.
Yeah.
So this is in the end coming to the soft costs of the solution. At the beginning, when a customer is buying and utilizing the fleet, they are looking only on the on the capex and on the hard costs. How much is this cost to me? But if you are looking on the reports, you'll see that on the 5 years based, 80% of the costs are coming to soft costs that you are not seeing at the right moment. You see in time.
So what you're meaning is that, being able to predict what can happen and also being able to offer solutions before, the situation is unsolvable, it's really important today. And also probably you're working in that direction, right? So trying to skip steps in the process, and then being able to upgrade the predictability. Sorry, that's a difficult word, right? So the predictability, it's probably one of the biggest opportunities that some of the customers could be having also in this area.
For sure. I think predictability nowadays, it's a luxury.
Yeah.
It's really a luxury. If you're looking on the customer...
It's a luxury you can take with your hand.
Exactly. If you have the right tools, you can predict the future.
Yeah.
You have the historical data. You have right now tools like machine learning.
Yeah.
And you have, all these, let's say, new solutions that are bringing you mapped on, let's say, almost 100% credibility and, percentage of the things that will happen on your table. So right now you know exactly how much it will cost the next shipment, how much it will cost, if you will, I don't know, invest into a new business unit,
Yeah.
or if you're going to the new direction. This is a luxury today when the world is not bringing you the predictability. The war, the inflation, the energy crisis, everything it's against the predictability today. And without this kind of solutions, you may be lost.
So that's very good. So it's all about the data, I mean, you mentioned that before. I mean, mobility, let's say hardware, has become a kind of commodity, and then you've been also giving an idea how this is influencing in the IoT, or how IT is influencing this change, and all this drives us into the more into the data analysis. So this is the point number 5: is where is the opportunity? Artificial intelligence, robotics. This is an area where also transport and logistics is getting impacted very heavily.
Coming to artificial intelligence is changing entirely the sector right now. From helping cars, trains, airplanes, to connect and to understand what is the next step. For these companies, it's crucial, to go into this artificial intelligence sector.
Yeah.
It's already applied to numerous, transport fields, and this kind of, AI and advanced analytics, can progress in the near future.
Yeah.
And the market, it's really exploding in that area.
Correct.
We cannot wait, and we cannot, stay to understand what will bring the new year or the new change. So we need to utilize the data, the historical data. There are these kind of artificial intelligence tools in the market that help us to map and to have maybe the digital twins. It's another example.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have technology that we can process very well, and we can map the future.
Yes.
Having this kind of behavior in terms of customers will give you again, the predictability. So the idea in the end is to have, predictability, and, to have a better visibility in the supply chain in order to offer a really easy, seamless experience to our customers, and to offer these solutions at the right price.
Correct.
Because the money are super expensive today.
Yeah, absolutely true. And you will also mention before that, this is not only affecting, the classical, let's say, sectors and business. You also have a case, with a bank where you have been also providing also some RAG technology in order to comply, to complete a solution that they needed, right?
Yes, indeed, we have an example, and now we started to have plenty of examples. We started this in Eastern Europe, to install on our hardware equipment on the terminals, some soft POS, in order to utilize to be utilized by the drivers when they deliver the packages. So the consumer simply pay with their phone or whatever, with their credit card, and they get the parcel. This was also very important in the pandemic times, because it made very simple the transaction, and also the experience of our customers in contacting and the relationship with the couriers. This is a really great example of a solution that Honeywell it's offering right now on the market. It's the same solution that I've said about retail case. It's a payment solution, and it's a really soft one. So it's a software as a service application you can install on whatever terminal or whatever device you have. So you can see right now is this movement of offering solutions that are hardware agnostic. We are not looking on solutions that are working only on Honeywell devices. We understand that this omni-channel it's important, and we address these challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you very much. I think we have been seeing many opportunities. We have been going through the 5 points that you consider really important: omnidirectional, visibility across the supply chain, mobility becoming a commodity, and of course it's something that we need to provide. We've been talking about IoT, and finally about artificial intelligence. I think we have been touching the 5 key points that are meaning an opportunity for most of our resellers and system integrators in this moment. So yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me. You are right. This is actually not only a trend, but is the reality. What we are looking right now is, to offer this kind of new solutions to the market. You will see next year, actually this year in 2023, it will take place, the first tests with the new solutions for the mid-mile sectors,
yes.
with those drones,
Yeah.
cargo drones. Then you will see a lot of, let's say, innovation coming from Honeywell with these applications that will go to resolve, challenges for at least few very important sectors in the economy. So we talk about transport and logistics, we talk about retail, we talk about manufacturing and healthcare. We are there, and together with partners like you, with BlueStar, I am sure that we will fulfill the future needs, and we will continue to innovate.
We want to be there, and also I want to challenge you. When the first drone flies on the mid-mile, as you are planning for, let's say later on this year, I want to make a video, I want to make a podcast. I want you to tell us how it was and how was the experience, right? Because it's the first time that this is going to be happening. Of course, I think it's very important for us to identify those opportunities. So again, Cristian, thank you very much for having made it today to our studio, and then I hope to see you very soon. And of course, good luck.
Thank you to Francisco. Good luck.